So just for training purposes, we're going to go ahead and show you how to open up Synapse program and get started with the neurofeedback training session. We're just going to pretend for now that you are all hooked up with the sensors with your specific protocol, but we'll be sending you those protocol videos specific to you. So you can refer to those first, you'll be all hooked up, and then you would start this process. So now we're going to actually open up the Synapse program. So you're going to double click. It sometimes takes a minute to open. You would have been given there again the same login and password that you're using for your symptom tracker is what you'll be given to use to log in here. So we'll give that to you on a piece of paper as well. So you'll enter that login and password. There again, for training purposes today, I'm actually using a demo mode so we can show you, and it's actually going to be a dual channel demo mode. So that means 2 sensors on the scalp. We'll hit login when you're done, and then you'll hit start training. We also will be giving you a step-by-step guide on a piece of paper on how to do it as well, so you can refer to that, so you don't have to be watching these videos as you're doing your actual session. So all this says is connect, select feedback, train, and feel great. So it's just kind of guiding you through. You're gonna hit begin. So right now, it's actually gonna show you which sites you're gonna be training. So for this demo mode, we're actually training the T sites. For example, you might be the Fs, you might be the Cs, Ps, or Os. And within all of those, there's different protocol numbers that we will be setting you up with. So there again, that's right now we're pretending that we're set up to Ts. So it's just asking you, are you connected? We're gonna say yes, done. So now it's actually gonna ask you to check the amplifier connection. So that's checking to make sure that this is connected and working well. So you're gonna hit check amplifier connection, and you're gonna see how it says in simulation mode. You do not want that to say when you're actually doing your sessions, because that means it's just a pretend mode. It's not actually doing what it's supposed to be doing for you. So if you see this, make sure that you double check that your amplifier is plugged in. And then you're gonna go start connection test. So there we go. It's telling us connection's good. Because this is a simulation mode, it's almost a little more perfect than it will probably be when you're actually doing the training. What this is telling us right now, connection's good. You're gonna wanna check, see how it's popping up saying artifact here and there, and turning orange. That's okay, that's gonna happen sometimes. It's probably gonna happen if you're talking, if you're moving, totally okay, you will see that. Sometimes in very overactive brains, you might see that as well. But you want to just make sure that if it's staying orange for a really long time, it's probably because one of your sensors popped up, like off the scalp. So you're going to want to actually take that off, wipe it off with a Kleenex, and reapply to your spot, because chances are you moved and it popped off. So you just want to make sure that these are all plugged in, and everything's good there. Always kind of recover your grounds and make sure everything's good if it's staying orange. Other than that, if everything's looking good, just try to move as little as possible once you're kind of at this stage so that nothing is popping off. And then you're going to actually hit start training. So you're always going to select video and audio fader because you want to be doing both, and then begin session. So you're always going to want to turn your volume up to where you like it. I'm going to put it at about 50, which is actually still pretty loud, I think. When you're doing the sessions, you want to just be able to hear the volume. You don't want it to be annoyingly loud, and it will get quieter because that's what the system will do when your brainwaves aren't regulated. So we'll hit done for that. You can play with the volume there. This is where you want to make sure that we have it on the right thing. I usually like to do the video at 50. It's going to be more challenging that way. Sometimes people prefer it at 70. You can play with that a little bit, but this is what I recommend. And then you're also going to want your volume to be at 100 and your minimum to be at 10%. It's kind of hard to get them right on the ball, but if you're close, that's okay. There, 12 is good. So now we're ready to start. So you're all hooked up. You're going to hit start, and then it's going to appear in the corner that it's going. It doesn't go away, it always stays in the corner, and that's just because if something pops off, it's going to notify you. So you kind of want to don't pay attention to it too much, but just if you happen to notice. So we're going to hit start. That's there. You want to bring up, before we had friends in the corner here. So you're going to bring that up. You're going to start it because the program's going, and you're going to click again to press play, and you can make it bigger. What you're going to see in here, you're going to hear the volume's going to dim and get louder, and just depending on where your brainwaves are at, that's normal. That's the program doing its work. And then you're also going to want the video is going to get dimmer and brighter as your brainwaves change as well. So just some tips when this is happening. You want to just not be chewing anything, no gum, no food. You want to be just focused on the show. Sit in a chair that's comfortable, but maybe sitting up so you're paying attention. And you just don't want to have any crazy distractions going on at the time. So I'm just going to show you one thing that might happen is, let's say something's happening and you need to pause the show. You can pause this, and you can also pause this. We don't recommend doing this too much, but I just clicked on, the little brain square in the corner, and I paused it. What happens is now it's tough to get rid of this. So in order to get this back to a small screen, you're actually going to have to minimize this Netflix screen. And then you actually click this synapse in the corner to make it go back small. So that's how you get it. So if you want to start back up again, you'd hit start, it's small again, and then you can hit play on your screen. It kind of hit play early on me there. And then you would make it bigger and hit play. So basically that's how you're going to let it go. You're going to let this run for 30 minutes. The session will automatically stop and save to our software in our office. So we get it all automatically. You're just in charge of turning off your show and everything like that. So let's say this turns off, it's done, it's gonna stop and save. Half an hour is what each session will be. So I'll just stop and close it out of here so we don't have to wait the full half an hour. And then just to get out of Netflix, you can go back to browse, or you can minimize it, and then you would just exit it out of the screen. So we're gonna do that. Just some extra tips for training. If you are gonna be in a house full of distractions, we recommend plugging in headphones. That way you can really you don't hear any background noises, and it really helps with the training. So we do recommend that. And you can also, if you're in a place where you can dim the lights or turn the lights off, that is better too, because you'll see the screen changing a little better as well. Also, some tips is if you have animals, kids, anything that might damage the system, we do recommend always putting it back in the case. That way it's not getting any damages or risk of damages. So definitely you can always shut it down by hitting shut down and unplugging everything and putting it back in the case. The sensors, if you have a safe spot, you can hang them. That would be great. If you have cats, maybe don't do that. So those are just some extra tips for that. Other than that, you guys can always give the office a call, and we can help you out with any other questions.